So anyways, we have 126 people in the room, and I think we are ready to start, right? So, hello everyone.
Hi.
On behalf of SHEROES, it's my honor to welcome each and every one of you from wherever you are. SHEROES is the world's largest women-only social network, which is exclusively designed around the needs, goals, and aspirations of women. We at SHEROES are very excited to partner with Max Life Insurance, one of the foremost life insurance companies in India. In today's webinar, SHEROES and Max Life Insurance come together to have an important conversation around how women can take charge of their financial journeys and secure their futures and that of their families. And to take this conversation forward, we have an all-women panel of leaders who are experts in the space of personal finance, and they speak passionately about the subject of women and finance. So during the discussion, don't forget to post your questions in the comments. And after the discussion, our awesome panelists will address your queries. No query is unimportant, so post liberally. And without much further ado, I would like to introduce you to our amazing moderator, Kavea R Chavali, anchor and co-founder of Kalaneca. Having hosted more than 1,300 shows across 15 countries, Kavea is the recipient of the Voice of Asia 2019, and she is the co-founder of Kalaneca, if I may add, along with her twin sister Ramya, an enterprise that designs and creates powerful and stylish saris by the weavers of Andhra. Her journey with her financial independence has allowed her to shift gears from being a solopreneur to becoming an entrepreneur. So let's give a round of virtual applause to welcome Kavea and our panelists. Kavea, over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Meryl, for that really warm introduction and those wonderful words. And good afternoon to all our beautiful set of women and people who have all joined in from different parts of India. I do believe that it's our Thursday afternoon and you all decided to spend an amazing Thursday afternoon with us. We'll make it worthwhile so that later, even if you want to look back this recording, you will do an amazing hashtag Thursday throwback and you will still enjoy the inputs. That's something we truly promise you. So for all those who joined us in, thank you so much for deciding to spend your quality time with us all, because I must assure you, I am equally amazed with the kind of panelists who are joining me this afternoon in order to share their experiences. Now, the topic is right in front of you. You know what is expected from the topic. But before I introduce our panelists and before I direct some questions to them, let me also quickly set a tone in terms of money matters and financial freedom as a concept. Now, after this, I'll direct the questions to our panelists, and after that, we'll actually open the forum for questions from all of you, because I can already see in the chat that some people have already started posing their questions, so keep that enthusiasm on. We need that till the rest of the program. Now, let's talk about money, about financial freedom, a term that's, sort of thanks to social media as well, a lot of people have started listening to this term and accepting it as well. When we look at our journeys with money per se, it all comes from the environment that we've all been brought up in, the kind of families that we were in. Some of us have seen the experience where the fathers were the ones who were earning money and the mothers would handle that home. They would ration out things and they would sort of manage the entire home. And sometimes I wonder if women can manage a home, they can actually run the country as well. That's what makes them true leaders. On the other hand, we've also seen situations or examples where probably both the set of parents, the mother and the father, were earning money as well. And we've seen them, sort of create that kind of financial future for the children. On another hand, another example is where women probably started stepping into this whole financial circle, whether in terms of stock market trading or in terms of investing in SIPs, understanding mutual funds, understanding the entire gamut as well. A little late, but for sure. So we've seen how all of this has happened, and somewhere the environment that we were brought up in, the kind of people we interacted with, they have in a way sort of influenced our decisions. For me as well, when Meryl was saying moving from solopreneur to entrepreneur, the reason is somewhere, I've seen how my father would always say, Kavya, whatever money you earn in your engineering fests, take that money and invest over here. Don't use it as a pocket money. Don't spend it for your outings. Invest, invest. And somewhere that allowed me to create Kalaneca. While that is my example, I'm sure we all want to hear from our prolific panelists as to what really is their understanding of financial freedom and what does it take to secure you as a person and your family's future, financial future. So on that note, let me quickly firstly begin by introducing our amazing set of panelists who are joining us. First up, we have with us Shinjani Kumar, who in fact has a very impressive journey, talking about the world of finance that she's been in, because she joined RBI in 1990, and all of this comes with her unusual educational background of English literature and journalism. I mean, how amazing is that? Now, in her 17 years at the Central Bank, she's also handled diverse portfolios and took a 2-year sabbatical to acquire MA in public policy at the UT Austin, Texas, USA. We're talking about a time when taking a sabbatical was like such a, different concept altogether. She left RBI in 2007 to join the Bank of America Merrill Lynch and then moved on to PricewaterhouseCoopers as a director partner. She headed Paytm Payments Bank briefly before accepting the position of country business manager for Citibank's consumer bank in India in 2017. She recently retired from Citi to set up Salt, www.salt.one. Now, this is a startup in the space of women, money, and choices. So, Shinjani, firstly, a warm welcome to you. I mean, when I look at these terms, women, money, and choices, I think I'm absolutely amazed and I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
We'll also quickly move on to introducing our second panelist. We have with us Shalini, who's a financial coach with over 20 years of experience in the risk and financial consultancy. In fact, she's worked closely in the areas of securing your unearned income and making your money work harder for you post-retirement rather than working to create it. And I think this phenomena is absolutely important and I must say very empowering. Now, in the association with Max Life Insurance, she's also earned many laurels and acknowledgements, and her expertise lies in life insurance, health insurance, savings and investments, indemnity, and mutual funds. Now, as I'm saying these terms, I can already imagine that all our set of attendees will have some interesting questions coming on these terms for you, Shalini.
True,
but first,
true.
warm welcome to you indeed.
Thank you. Thank you, Kavya.
Let's also quickly move on to introducing our next panelist. We have with us Farida Khan, who's a Circle Head Axis Bank Relationship, Max Life Insurance, a professional with 25 years of experience in banks, NBFC insurance. She started her career as a telemarketing executive with a bank, and she's been with Max Life for the last 17 years. Starting off at the Max Life agency with experience across all the roles, including that of office head, managing partner, followed by transformational leader. I think she's experienced a gamut of roles, and I think that is absolutely amazing to, sort of hear about you, ma'am. In fact, for the last 6 years, she continues her journey of excellence in access relationships, establishing change and experience of the two best geographies, which is Delhi and Gujarat. She's a Woman of Substance Award winner for 2018, a biochemistry postgraduate, a role model for her son who just graduated as an aerospace engineer. I think, Farida, for sure your son is taking flight towards his dreams thanks to the role model you are. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kavya.
Wonderful. And that finally brings me to our final panelist, ladies and gentlemen, all of our attendees. We have with us Siddhika Agarwal, who's a co-founder of SHEROES Money, a community-driven digital bank being built as a platform that stands for women's progress, both financially and emotionally. In fact, this is what is helping her achieve her life goals as well. She's also a founding member of the Digital Gold at MMTC PAMP, helping take it to multiple platforms such as Paytm, GPay, HDFC, amongst many others. She's also worked at Brain Juicer, a London-based market research firm, and at EY India, and pursued her graduation in Eco Honors at SRCC Delhi University. So, Siddhika, a warm welcome to you as well. And
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
I'm so amazed that we have such an amazing set of panelists over here. And without any further delay, let's actually get the questions going, because there are certain set of questions coming from my end. But after that, we'll also hear it from all of our attendees. So first of what we'll do is let's pose the questions. Let's direct the questions firstly to Shinjani. So Shinjani, if I can also request you to keep your video on and give me a thumbs up so that Yes, that means we're ready to deep dive in. Let's go for it. So, Shinjani, while I was sort of introducing you, I also realized that you spent more than 18 years in the banking sector. So, what really inspired you to focus on the area of women and money? And what are some of the observations that triggered this new journey that you have initiated?
That would be a very long answer, but let me try to deal with it as short as possible. So, in my very last stint, when I was at Citi, it was. Can you hear me? Is my voice okay? Okay, good. So, my stint at Citi was almost a culmination of a very long journey of looking at financial services from multiple perspectives, right? And when I was in RBI, of course, there was a false sense of equality, because when you are 22 and you walk into a job like a RBI, in a cadre, which is a senior cadre, you are treated like, not like a woman but like an officer by everybody, and so you create this false sense of security. And I think walking out of that bubble after 17 years, my biggest learning was that I really hadn't seen. I used to tell people I feel like I've had a cataract operation because I can see the world more clearly. And it was only after I walked into the private sector and I started to actually understand what were the real issues that were gender related. It changed my whole perspective, and that's when I started going back and started to actively look for what the issues were. And because I come from a very small, I grew up in a village, and I still have roots in small town Bihar, and I have a lot of relatives and people there. And you then start seeing stories of grit, and you see some sad stories, but you also see a lot of very empowering stories of women that just take charge, and with very little how should I put it, they're very resourceful, so you give them a little and they make it go a very long way. So that's sort of almost started to stare at me, and I started to see how much obstacle there was in formal finance that would handicap women at all the different stages. And I can go on and tell you many, many stories. But essentially, you start realizing how very small pieces of money, things that are taken for granted, like a cycle. And now, of course, you drive through rural India and you saw a lot more women on wheels. But I always say that the difference between the gender difference is the sharpest, because girls don't have wheels, because boys have wheels, so they move to where the opportunity is at every stage. I want to play cricket, I'll wheel to where I will play cricket. I'm a girl, I want to play cricket, I'll be in the house. So I think, so everything, so a small thing like a cycle, a very small thing like books, or whatever, an entrance exam fees, a bank draft that you require to send for an entrance exam of something. There are many, many examples that I've seen that handicap women. But more importantly, when I came to Citi after this sort of having a full 360-degree view of financial services, I was very convinced that given the infrastructure that I had, which was a very large and powerful consumer franchise, and dealing with the elite of the country, I would be able to see a different picture. And it sort of broke my heart that it wasn't different, that it was still a very gendered approach. And even though I was sitting at the helm of it, and I was asking the right questions, and I was trying to change things, even changing small things, it was very, very hard. And of course, we'll go through this conversation and we'll talk about more examples. But essentially, the realization I had is that this is not a problem of exclusion of on the ground of not having the opportunities. This is an exclusion on the ground of having the opportunity, but not being designed in a way that women could access it the same way that men could, even with the same economic strata or income, etc. So that's when I felt like I needed to change that. And and if you want to change something, then you have to do it alone or with the right people. So I found the right co-founders, and that's where I went.
I must say that's incredible, actually, to understand from your observations and how it led for you to begin or to create the startup called Salt. So I think that's some amazing work that you're doing out there, Shinjani. That actually brings me now quickly to another important question, because we're talking about this term called pandemic. Now, while on one hand, yes, you created a startup, an opportunity, to sort of design that kind of curriculum or design that kind of opportunities for women. Coming to pandemic, which of course was tough for everybody, including women as well. But what do you think has been the impact from a financial point of view? And do you see any kind of trends emerging, from this pandemic per se?
So by now, I have spent almost as much time inside city during the pandemic as I have spent outside city. And one of the things that became very, very clear and visible to us while we were in city, because the pandemic effect started fairly early, so it was more than it was 3 quarters and a little bit more, that you started to see, of course, there's impact on credit. So you start seeing all kinds of things, but that's more for the banks to handle. From a consumer perspective, actually, you started, it was interesting, you started to see savings go up. And now what you're seeing in the stock market, in terms of the money flowing in, there's effectively people are sitting at home, and then two things are happening. One is that they are saving money because effectively they're not traveling, they're not socializing, there are no large events, so there's a lot of that money that is piling up. But and therefore people are also, they also have the time to spend on looking for opportunities to do something with that money, to find the right way for it. And the third thing I'll say that has also happened is that something like a pandemic like this, it shakes your faith in what you believe. So I think a lot of us live very smug lives where we believe that things will more or less always be like this, and especially if you are privileged, you have money, you think you'll pretty much be able to take care of most things. And then something like this happens, and it's very dramatic, and then you start to say that you can't even take simple things for granted. Like, people didn't have, I live in a very elite society in Mumbai, and for first few weeks there was no cheese for women, and these children were not used to living without a pizza or whatever lasagna for a week. So women got together and spoke to Amul, and then we used to have Amul coming to our building every week and delivering cheese. And I don't think any of these women ever bought an Amul cheese product in their normal lives, but that's what was available, and then they learned to make the most of it, and then there were recipes being exchanged on what they were doing. So what I'm trying to say is that you always see the hard part, the tough part, but you also start to see how that change begins to affect the consumer in multiple different ways, because something as big as this can't just leave you not hugely affected. So from a financial lives perspective, people's spending patterns change, people's view on the future changes, and people's time management changes in terms of how much they're willing to spend on themselves and their closer communities, families, versus external communities of, all of us used to be spending so much of our time in conferences and seminars and five-star hotels, and then all of that went and nothing happened. So I guess it will change people's way of thinking and behaving. So we can talk more about it as we go along, but yeah, initially.
I must admit, we managed to gather some very interesting nuggets of your observations, Shinjani. In fact, when you say about the fact that how I remember 2008 when I was when I was working for a channel and I was reporting. I remember how the analyst said that India is a savings economy, so we won't be really that bit affected. But I realized from savings economy, we still became a gig economy. And somewhere this pandemic kind of has, sort of made us realize that we come back to that savings bit, which was a very wonderful observation. Also upskilling ourselves. We managed to gather the time to skill ourselves, and most importantly, not taking the small things for granted. So I think a very interesting observation coming from a founder and that of a consumer's perspective. So thank you so much, Shinjani, for sharing that. We'll come back to you in a short while, and I'll now direct my next set of questions to my next panelist as well. Meanwhile, all the attendees, you can please keep sharing your questions in the chat box, because towards the end of the session, we have a dedicated 20 to 25 minutes for your questions. So please keep asking them. Let's now move on to Shalini. Shalini, I think something that I really want to understand from you is, after we have set the tone with Shinjani in terms of understanding these trends and the pandemic per se, if I have to ask you about what are some of the key instruments that women must invest in or purchase in order to make life more secure? I know this is like a direct question coming in, but I'm sure our audience would be keen to gain insights from you in terms of those key instruments that women must invest in. Shalini, you're on mute. Okay. Shalini, I think you're on mute.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Can you hear me now? Am
Yes.
I audible?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just a minute. I don't see the screen.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Just a minute.
Sure.
Allow me a second.
Not a problem.
Okay, can you hear me? Am
Yes,
I audible?
absolutely. We see
Okay,
you
so
as
the
well. Yeah.
year 2020 was a very challenging year for everyone. I think somewhere or the other, each one of us experienced a lot of things, and we became more resilient financially, emotionally, and physically also. So, the observations which we came across as a financial consultant during this time was it's the women who took the forefront. They were the ones who came forward and wanted to inquire about their protection strategies, which their husbands or their family members had implemented. So I have been very closely associated. I mean, I've been working as a financial consultant, insurance consultant with Life from last 20 years. And this company rolls out a very interesting survey every year, which is called Insurance Protection Quotient, IPQ, what we call it. And the survey captures the pulse of the Indian consumer, urban consumer, on their promptness, on what kind of preparedness or financial prudence they are prepared for. So there were some very interesting facts which came forward this year that the women from last year, 34%, the IPQ rose to 36% this year. And a phenomenal change was seen in the working women. Their IPQ levels from 36 rose to 39, which is just 1% less as compared to men. So what this reveals is that the women are now taking charge, are becoming more prudent and investment savvy, protection savvy. So in my personal sales experience over the last 1 year, the entire sales process or the purchase this time was initiated by the lady of the house. It was she who called me and asked me to do an annual review, to revisit her existing portfolio, or her husband's existing portfolio, which was very amazing. I mean, I sourced some more than 100 plus families. I got in touch, and this time it was a lot of NRI business also which poured in. And all the calls, and I'm sure few of them would be here on this webinar because I invited them, they took the charge, they took the coaching from me, and then as per their need they decided what they want to buy. So, and reviewing, annual review was a very, very important tool which helped us assess their financial and protection needs in detail. So, I work in primarily three areas of for my customer, which is the environment protection. And when I say environment protection, it was for preparing for events like pandemic, so sudden uncertain events like pandemic. This was also an environmental hazard and uncertainty which came our customers way. Because of this, a lot of my clients went into involuntary retirement mode. They were not in the process of creating money. So that was the time, when the sustenance part, the protection part came into picture. The monies which were saved for rainy days came into picture. The second, I work towards goals of my customers. So I'm sure many of amongst us would have experienced that the priorities changed. Initially saving for maybe international college. This year, the parents shifted that priority to something else because those colleges are not accepting students, and said, again, as Shinjani said, that there were piles of money going up in the bank. They were not spending that money. So this was a very, very important time where the importance of protection was highlighted amongst our customers. And I personally feel that when a woman is in the charge, she makes better decision. As I very clearly said, that they make better decision makers. When they are in the driving seats, they are emotionally driven most of the time, and they have the right attitude towards money. They know how to conserve money in a better manner. So in these during these time, we also, it's a job of a coach to make the person understand how important protection on oneself is also there, especially securing yourself against health ailments, critical illnesses, and also covering up your net worth protecting your net worth, because we all carry some form of net worth which we are generating and supporting our loved ones with. So protecting these important aspects, areas of our life, I think women took the charge, and they were really, there were very good results which were observed. And as part now we are, as if I look at the IPQ, it is showing some excellent results. There is no inequality between the ratios which were earlier existing. So as you asked me, what are the key areas the women should be investing in? I personally feel it is the health, critical illness rider, and preparing for a very strong financial independence through annuity programs for their old age. It's not the era, since we all are young today, but think of an area when you would be post 60 years or 65 years, and indirectly you become dependent financially on your family members. So preparing for those days, those golden era of your life, and enjoying it to the utmost is something which I would recommend my customers to plan better by protecting their current status of income creation protection. Yeah.
I must admit, Shalini, those were some dynamic thoughts that you've shared, in terms of preparing while protecting, the current assets, and I think one key point that will also lead me to the next question is in terms of you mentioning about the critical illness for health expense, the coverage for that matter. Now, as we all know, with last year, it's definitely brought in another term into our life. Besides the word lockdown, we also understood the word called immunity. Something we massively took it for granted. We realized, immunity is the way forward. It's what will actually protect us, will take care of us. Now, while the last year has had a lot of importance, especially on health and immunity, according to you, how important has it become to take proactive measures for health to have overall protection, the overall protection quotient high for yourself and your family, especially, for the backbone of the family, that is the women of the house. So how important has this become? How crucial it's become?
True. So, Kavya, what I observe here is that the last year, people have become again very, very vigilant on what all is available. They want to take informed decisions. And of course, digital norms and all these regulatory changes which have come in have also helped the women take these decisions in a smarter manner, because taking informed decisions. So people all the more have become, the IPQ3 also revealed, that people are giving a lot of emphasis on immunity boosters, or probably taking care of their health requirements, covering them up for critical illness riders. So as I said, taking informed decision is something important. One needs to first understand what is the difference between a rider, a critical illness coverage, which the life insurance policy offers you, and what is a health insurance policy. Most of the people are unaware. I got unlimited calls from my customers. Is my policy not covering me for critical illness, especially a mediclaim, what you call? Most of the people know the health insurance as a terminology of mediclaim, right? Is my policy not covering me for critical illness? So one needs to understand the clear difference. Health mediclaim only compensates or probably reimburses the money which you spent on hospitalization. Whatever expense the customer or the patient incurred in the hospital is taken care from that policy. And it has certain limitations. It might cover an X expense or might not cover an X expense, right? The other Y expense. So when it comes to critical illness rider, it is a beautiful way to cover up that protection in a very nominal amount, where you get compensated with a lump sum value, a money, which might have put you into during the critical illness, the customer or the patient must be in a situation where he or she is in a fatal situation, bedridden, and is incapacitated to perform or create money. So during that time, the critical illness takes care of that financial backup and comes forward and helps the customer. So now the women, they want to know more. As I experienced last year, these people were calling and they wanted to know detailing how the treatment is done. And in fact, even I had to, pep up my knowledge, read a lot on how a particular disease behaves, right? So critical illness is a beautiful way, rider enhancement is a beautiful way of enhancing your protection benefits. So now let's closely understand what is a rider first. I don't know whether most of you would be aware what a health rider or a protection rider means. A rider is a way in which you can put a top up on your base policy. So if somebody has a life insurance plan, you top it up with a rider in a bare minimum amount and enhance your protection benefits. Specifically, it enhances like areas of incapacitation. Suppose you're planning, I give you an example here. I have a goal that by the time I'm 60, I should be sitting on a 1 crore of a retirement corpus, right? So during these 20 or 15 years of my working span, I save towards this. And I take a rider with it, which is maybe a waiver of premium rider or a critical illness rider. Now, I don't know, there's a lot of uncertainty between I fall sick, I'm diagnosed of cancer, God forbid, and my earning capacity loses. So now who will fund that 1 crore systematic planning which I'm into, whether it is mutual fund or whether it is life insurance, saving plan or anything. So when you have a rider, it takes the financial risk on its shoulders. It compensates you with that money which was earlier getting saved for a different reason. What else you will do? It will otherwise bring a big hole in your savings. The money which was otherwise saved for a different goal would get eroded. So the benefit of the rider comes here in picture. So it is comes with a very nominal cost, and the best part is it can be added, deleted, enhanced at various stages of your life. But what you need to know, more important, is that you should be healthy when you think of buying it. So always buy such stuff when you're young, when you're healthy. Because most of the time I have experienced when people suffer, they knock our doors that we want to buy life insurance, we want to buy critical illness rider, where they are denied these options. So that's the reason, I mean, the younger generation, especially our daughters, women, younger people from our age, should be more well versed to these areas. They should not think that, why me? I don't need insurance. It is for the family. I would like to quote here that life insurance is for the family, but critical illness or health is for you. It is because if you are sick, the whole world stops there. Because if you are not moving, the money creation will not happen. So this is what I have to say, that these are the areas. Immunity boosters, of course, that is your personal take care, eating the right healthy food and everything. Now, the surprising thing which we observed in this IPQ was that people have become so digitally savvy that they are doing a lot of research online and finding about these solutions. So they're again conversation starters for us. And it was interesting to note that 10.4 crores of people are using fitness apps. I myself have started using 3 apps about that steps and about my sleep patterns, about my XYZ. So I think we people are becoming more savvy with this new change. And it is good that we have adapted it in our lifestyle, and we are moving with the flow. Of course, this pandemic will go away. We need to be more strong in our self and make the right moves and steps to fight with it. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely, Shalini. I think I must admit this particular part only turned out to be like a financial education in itself, the words that you've shared. And I think a lot of people will somewhere understand, because many a times it so happens, hum policy lete hain, we take the policies and all, and we don't really question. We'll sign all the terms and conditions because we're like, it'll take care of it. It's only the pandemic that has allowed us to question, ki, bhai, ye policy mein hai kya? What does it cover? What it doesn't cover? So I think you brought out those observations of the people, the consumers, very well. So yes, wonderful. Shalini, I think you're on mute again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Now here I play two different roles, a twin role when I'm with my customer. What is a job of a coach? It is to help the customer make the right moves, be it on any part, be it a health or a financial move. So coaching means educating the customer, making him aware what all is available in the market, and then probably helping the customer take an informed decision. So this is what my role calls for. And this is what I've been doing day in and out. And I think this subject is very close to my heart. And any article or anything comes up, I'm the first to join and probably learn from it if I can gather something. Thank you, Kavya.
That's lovely indeed, Shalini, because as much as you're learning, I think we all are learning, from your words over here. So I'm sure there'll be more questions coming in directing to you as well with regard to all of this. We'll look forward to that. But meanwhile, attendees, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift the gears and I'm now going to move on to my next panelist as well. In fact, my next set of questions are directed to Farida. And this is going to be interesting because we have some very important, pertinent questions that are already on your mind. So let me actually direct them to Farida. The first one being, Farida, what's your advice on how women can invest in their own digital literacy and grow their knowledge about key aspects such as life insurance? What's that important advice you'd like to share?
Okay. Hi. So, as women, first of all, my advice is that a woman needs to believe that, being a biochemistry student, I keep telling this, that a female has X and X chromosome. What does it mean? That X stands for financial knowledge, okay? And that X is actually there in the woman from the time they are born. So believe in yourself. Second, in the men, it is XY. So, it's a question mark there. So I want to tell this to all the women here is, first of all, believe in yourself. Okay. You are the people who are born with a gene which is talking about financial management, which talks about anything about the family security or anything to do with it. So we need to know that it is there. So when it comes to learning, go to digital, go to anything. Why is it that, a woman cannot get into a stock market? Why is it that a Bitcoin is a little away from a woman? I fail to understand. So first of all is the woman needs to believe in herself, saying that we are the carriers of financial planning. Okay. And the other is, I keep telling this to all the women I come across. We need to guide the woman to become stronger. Okay. And any family gets that strength from the female of the house. And if I have to talk about, if we have to go to the past, I have seen my own grandmother. Okay. My own grandmother, she brought up 8 kids with a meager salary of my grandfather, who was a railway officer. Okay. And she used to manage it so well. She was like multitasking. She was taking care, and there was never a deficit of food or anything, any thing that was. And then comes to my own mother. She's like, mother to 3 kids, and my father being in Air Force, we were again a limited earning, right? But a woman, if you have to learn from the past, these are, the grandmother and the present mother, or demonetization has given this woman the power that, when this demonetization came in, there were ladies who went to their husbands taking out that money of 500 and 1,000 notes. Ye bhi hai, huh? They came up with this, that even this is there with me, and they were like shocked. The male of the families were shocked. Where did this come from? And it was from them only. They had managed it. So women, please, that first thing, believe in yourself. Financial planning is in us. So we need to just open to, be on learning front. Like Shalini was saying, I keep learning whatever comes across. You don't have to run away from money. You don't have to think that, oh, money, that is not my prerogative. No, it is our prerogative. And, I keep telling this, I am a little person of, when I have to remember things, I use acronyms a lot. Okay. So, some acronyms that I would like to tell this to people when it comes that, where should a woman invest and how should she get into the digital education, or, so first of all, when you have to believe, I remember this word shine. Okay. Shine is a word where male used to, be accompanied with women, and the men financial strength was exhibited the way the woman beside him used to shine. Okay, the amount of jewelry she used to wear, the kind of saris, and that cannot be repeated. A man can wear a black suit every, the same black suit every time, but a woman cannot repeat a jewelry set or a sari that she wears in a party or a marriage. Okay, so the way the woman shines, the male is rated that way. Okay, the financial strength of a male is rated by the way the woman shines. And what does shine stand for? Shine, remember shine. Okay, S is they can see clearly, their sixth sense is awesome. So why not stock market? Let's use it. Okay, H stands for health is wealth. A woman never ages. We all know that. Yeah. So they don't like it. For them, health is wealth. Believe in it, maintain it, whether it is a pandemic or anything. They take care of the family's health. Why not themselves? Okay. Inspiration comes very easy. Inspiration is for every woman. You just tell them that the food is very good. They will forget the pain behind cooking that food also. And they will cook it again and make it more better, and they will start looking it for, so inspiration is it comes, they take it so naturally. Okay. And then, when we come to N, I say that they have one thing very clear. They never neglect their family. Whatever situation, they are working, they are at home, they never neglect their family. Okay. And a woman is always into elevating. E stands for elevating the lifestyle. The shine that I'm talking about, if a woman thinks about SHINE, she shines. Why not shine in the financial market? Yeah. So I have this to tell to all the younger, I'll again quote Shalini. She said, when you are young, when you are healthy, invest in insurance. That is the time when the young ladies, the younger you are, start thinking about financial security. And when it comes to financial security, what I say is financial security is one thing. Security, the word, it's a feeling. It is not something which is existing and ek cheez hai, you go and buy it. No, it's a feeling. Security is a feeling. Okay. Financial security is the first thing. Second, it goes to the financial independence. Then it goes to financial freedom. Now, why do we think, it's not the same. I just want to tell this to everyone on this thing. Financial security, financial independence, and freedom is not the same. If I have to define it to all of you, what does it mean? Financial security is, I have a basic need. My bills are there. My rent is there. My car is there. It needs petrol. These basic needs taken care of, even if I am not there, is security. Financial independence is, just to make it a little easier to understand for each one of you, financial independence is whatever amount of bills or the financial security amount I have, okay? If I am not working, that amount is always there with me in my account. I don't have to think that my bills cannot be taken care of. And also I don't have to think that I will not have money. That is independence, feeling independent about it. Okay. And then it comes freedom. Freedom is having much more than what makes you feel even independent. If I want to buy a jet, I will just go and buy it. So elevate your lifestyles. That is freedom. Okay. So elevate your lifestyle. All women, you need to guide the men around you. You are that inspiration. Do not think, ye mera nahi hai. This part does not belong to me. It does belong to you. Okay. So I just wanted to make this point shine. Okay. And remember this. And the second thing I want to talk about is, you would talk, I'm a life insurance person. When it comes to a life insurance person, you don't say it is man insurance, it is woman insurance. No, it is not. What we say, we calculate the human life value. It's the human that matter. I was reading this book and they said the name of the person and the designation is human being. Okay. Now, why is it that a working woman's, quotient needs to be lower than a man? How? Why is it that a woman at home, a person, she's taking care of the house? My mom took care of the house. If she was not there, we would have to go out to eat food. We would have to go out to even tailor our dresses because she made our dresses, my dresses till by class 9th. That is a value she used to bring to my family. That's her value. There was this survey which was done. If a woman were at home, is removed in an urban city, the value of that particular person impacts the home by 45,000 per month. Because people will go out to eat food, because there will be certain things that will come because she is absent. So why not secure yourself? And I'm talking about in a metro and in urban. So, housewives should not feel that being a housewife is less. It is the value, it is the human life value. And who's a human? Again, I'll come to that, my favorite way of talking. People in this would know that human. H is helpful. If you're helpful, you're human. If you're understanding, you're human. If you like to mingle with people, mingle around, you're human, yeah? Yeah? And you can amuse. Females do it very well. They can really amuse people. And you can nurture. This only female can do. Nurturing does not come to man naturally. Okay, so not to take anything away from the men that are across, but yes, human is, so human life value. Understand that.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that is the key. So I just wanted to bring this, to the younger generation. Today, I have crossed that stage and I have learned it. I want to help the younger generation. Maybe you can learn it, much before my age. I don't say it's over. I think even it's a beginning for me also. Okay. So I think, Kavya, I hope I've been able to get that hit the or
Absolutely. You not just managed to hit the nail with the question on digital literacy. I must say your answer turned out to be like a masterclass in itself. Because, we often look at all of this with regard to money in a very technical aspect, but, you giving us a holistic aspect. And even I've taken down notes on what shine is. And I'm sure even Siddhika was doing that as I was noticing. So were our attendees. So I must say it was nothing short of a masterclass. But because I want to still chew on, the insights that you're sharing, I'll quickly also share the next question in terms of leading from the fact that, when we're talking about the next gen as well. Do you see that somewhere women consumers per se, they're now taking their own financial decisions, or are we still living in an age where we are dependent on the men and we're leading these decisions to the men? And do you think that somewhere there's been a change in the mentality where only men were considered the breadwinners of the family? Do you think that change is happening now?
I think, yes, it is. It is happening. It is like, the woman today is the co-founder of the house. She is not that, okay, she's just a housewife. She's a co-founder today. It is happening. It is changing, and not only in the women, even the men around are changing, they are also accepting this fact. Okay. But still there's a long way to go. still there is a long way to go, because, you know, we keep talking about things. The If I have to just link it to, you know, the PQ, or if I have to link it to, you know, I've been doing a lot of, last year, we have done around 10,000 policies. And I was just going through that data point. The number of policy owners still are men 70-80%. Yeah. So why it is just 20%? You know, the females are kind of the proposer or the owner of the policy. So I would say 20 is also, 25 is also a great number to come to, because earlier it used to be even just 10. Okay. What we are saying is that we are improving. We are definitely improving. We are changing also. Okay. I would just give my example of my past, is that I started as a telemarketing executive, as you rightly said, in Citibank. Okay. In those days, it was only women who could be a telemarketing executive. A man could never be a telecaller. Okay. It has changed today. Right? We used to, it is not the same today. We do get calls from, you know, a service executive or a customer service executive does pick up the phone and say that I am your manager, I am your, you can tell me, I will solve your query. Okay. That has changed. So gender biasness over towards the profession also is changing. Okay, it is not only the women, even women are getting accepted. I am today sitting here because of not choice. You know, it's very clear. It's by chance. My choice field, which my son definitely is going to take care of, used to be, I wanted to fly an aircraft. Okay, when my dad was in Air Force. But I could not get into it because they never took women. The year I crossed my age, that was the year Air Force announced that, yes, we can take women. It's not there today like that. Today, a young woman, if she wants to become a pilot, she will go, yeah. So things are changing. Things are changing. But still, the mindset of people still needs to change. Okay, so I feel that we need to work. You know, I would say there are 7 sectors of life. 7 sectors of life. We have mental, we have physical, we have emotional, okay? Then we have spiritual. 7 sectors, okay? We have spiritual. What else? We have our, you know, economical. We have our social sector. We have our relationship. If you see all this, sectors, 7 sectors, apart from the economical sector, the woman is strongest in all the 6 sectors. Whether it is physically, mentally, spiritually, relationships, anything you talk about, social, out of the 7 sectors, 6, she is strong. Why not economical also? So there we need to change our own mindset. Women need to get out and they need to be accepted more by the society in all the fields. Not only physically, acha chalo aaye hai to let us accept her. No, it has to be, you know, wholly.
I think somewhere where you mentioned about the mindset, it's a mindset that is changing slowly. And I think that is somehow, you know, paving way even for women to, you know, sort of be a part of that conversation. So I do believe, Farida ji, that you've actually shared, you've sort of hit the nail in both the ways, in both the questions, you know, in terms of addressing these pointers. So thank you so much for that. And I know that we are kind of, you know, sort of, I'm keeping a tab on the time as well. And I'm going to also direct my questions to Siddhika, after which we'll have all these questions coming from our attendees for all of you. So let me quickly move on to Siddhika, and I'm going to quickly ask you about the whole aspect around the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, because financial inclusion is positioned prominently as an enabler of the 8 out of the 17 goals, and especially in 2030 when we are keeping that as our target. So what are the gaps when it comes to women consumers?
Thank you for that. Now that everyone has spoken about so much to do with how women are really dealing with finance, and I love the way Farida explained just how do you use acronyms, and it's really about taking charge, right? So I'm going to kind of talk about financial inclusion and the gaps in three different spaces. One is a very positive space. Look, the government is doing a lot in terms of just taking out policies, rolling out policies, and not just gender specific policies, but harnessing digitization, right? What that really does, digitization gives anyone the power to be sitting in their home and doing what they want to do with the use of a smartphone or the use of a laptop, right? Um, what this really means and translates, yesterday I was speaking to a couple of home bakers, and I was like, where do you collect your money? Right now you can't even collect cash, so where are you getting this money? They're like, oh, our husband's account, our father's account. I was like, but why? Do you know you can sit at home and create your own saving account in 5 minutes and actually have your own UPI handle? So why are you doing this? They're like, oh, we didn't know we could create our own bank account, right? So that's the first piece, which is there is a part of the gap that is being addressed today. Now it's about the awareness. And obviously, as goes with any other government scheme, it's not just about the awareness, but it's also around the execution of how that really goes on ground and how you're really, taking it to the consumer. This is where I take the second part in, which is what Shinjani mentioned right in the beginning. It's not like the access is not there. It's the way and the form in which you have created this access to the financial product. So what do I really mean by this? We've, as part of Sheroes Money, we've kind of surveyed around 18,000 women now. And all of these women are like, most of them, we're not allowed to go to a bank. How do we open a bank account? We're not allowed to. That word allowed, when you talk about this, societal construct is something that we need to break here. And we can't do it till we don't take charge, because no man is coming and saying, karna hi nahi hai. Matlab, karna hai, to you need to take that charge yourself and say, hey, I can do this, right? So that societal cultural construct and the way we are presenting, therefore, the access to these financial products is the second pillar or the second need that needs to be addressed. And finally, when we come to the products themselves, there is so much today. And I remember I was in another call with Shinjani where we were talking about this, and when just let's take one simple financial instrument, which is a loan. We all are aware of how loans function. Today, even someone who's a working woman goes to take, let's say, a car loan. There's another woman who's been running her own business, is from an affluent family, and she went to apply for a 2 lakh rupee loan. They said, hey, get your husband along. But why should I take my husband along when you can see my bank statement? You can see the fact that I'm earning my money, right? So where is that actual changing of the product for the woman, and really like catering it to her needs and making it about her? I'm not going to take any names of institutions, but on our journey of Sheroes Money, we've been talking to a lot of partners, and one of them, we said, hey, look, we know what kind of a credit card we want to create for our women. So, these are some of the features. They're like, oh, but you don't want to make the credit card pink. Hey, making the credit card pink is not about making it a woman's financial product, right? So I guess we're not far, or rather, we're on the right path to financial inclusion. So let's take a positive spin on it. We are on the right path of financial inclusion. You have, 3 other really amazing women, including yourself, Kavea, who are doing really amazing work in this space. So it's just about now focusing all of this energy into saying, okay, as a woman, we have experienced some things in our life, or people around us have. Now let's just take those problem statements one step at a time, and let's change this system, right? I think that's how I would look at the gaps when it comes to financial inclusion and achieving that by 2030.
That's lovely, Siddhika, because what you're doing is that the society is throwing you these different set of or mindsets. You're taking that mindset and you're changing the way how things can be created in terms of opportunities for women. And I think you've very beautifully shared experiences from what has been taking place with regard to Sheroes money as well. And I think that's some amazing experiences for all of us to learn from. That also brings me to the next point, though Farida also, sort of addressed that in a very holistic manner. But what, according to you, are some of the barriers that are still holding the women back, especially, financially? And how, according to you, our collective forces can come together? I know Sheroes money is doing so much. Sheroes, for that matter, as a platform is doing so much. But how important are collective forces to come together in order to create that kind of a landscape and, that kind of ecosystem for us?
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about collective forces, and everyone before me has spoken about woman being the caretaker of the family, right? Like this persona that we have of a woman in society. We're empathetic, or rather, we say we're more empathetic. The instinct to want to take care comes very, very naturally to us. We do manage our household budgets. We kind of somewhere keep forgetting that we are at the end of the day managing our household budgets, right? So what stops us from saying, hey, let me manage my own finances, let me take care of my own health? I can, in the airport, in the airplanes, they say wear your mask before you make your other child wear your mask. Wear a mask, protect yourself. And it's really, it starts from within. And then if I were to get a little deeper about this, collective forces, be it, and for me, it's everyone from the government to the regulators to the banks and the people who are creating these products, right? One of the things in a digital economy that we really need to harness is data. So today, when I look at UPI numbers, for instance, there is no gender aggregated data. Google Pay on Women's Day, took out a report to kind of say what are the different trends that they're seeing. But when you look at a national level, where is the gender aggregated data? Where is the gender focused data? How do you really like differentiate this? Because if you don't work with data, how do you really provide and create true products, right? One is a feeling and one is an emotion that I want to evoke, but how am I being informed to create the right products? So at a very macro level, it's creating the right processes. So I get data, so I get the actual numbers behind what we want to create. So yeah, start from within, take care of yourself, and everyone will come together.
Wonderful. It's about start taking care from within. That is, be proactive with self. And I think that analogy of using the mask first before giving the oxygen mask to the next person, I think that was beautifully shared. That brings me to one final question to you, Siddhika, which is to do with what is it that women can do, in terms of taking care of their, taking that control over their lives, their health, their wellness, and what can they do to promote it as a culture? When you say that an educated woman of the family can actually bring about that kind of change. So I think somewhere it all starts with us, as you've said. So what different or what another salient point that you can share that women can do to create that kind of change?
Yeah. Like I said, it starts from within, but very importantly, we need to start voicing our thoughts. We need to start saying, hey, I don't know this. If a man of the house, or if, another member in the house kind of stands up and says, I don't know this, everyone will gather together to find a solution, to say, hey, I know XYZ, why don't you talk to that person? I know ABC, talk to that. But why is it that the woman of the house does not stand up? And I'll share a very personal example here. I come from a background where I never had to care about money in a way that, how do I take care of my own money? My father took care of it. It was a joint family. My grandfather had a business. But now when I started working and I suddenly had this cash in hand, 2 years down the line, I realized I was blowing up all my money. I did not have any money at the end of the day to say, hey, retirement will happen. I'll have savings. Like the typical millennial, I was like, Abhi, let me live in currently like the current age, right? In the third year of my work, I literally sat down with my sister and I said, here's a tissue paper, here's a pen. Let me write down, where am I spending my money? Like, where is it going? I'm earning, but I'm not saving. And, as soon as I did that, My sister gave me multiple inputs into where can I save that money? How do I save it for myself? Tomorrow, if my mother doesn't have my father, how can I support my mother? Right? I have a younger brother. Tomorrow, if he doesn't get a job, can I be that financial, provider for him? Why does a man of the family always have to support the family financially? Why don't I see myself in that light? And why am I not creating that space for myself, within the family? And that day I promised myself, one, I'm not going to be a millennial in the way that देखा जाएगा जब कुछ आना होगा तो देख लेंगे. But it was really about saying, hey, as a family, let's sit together. Let's talk about our finances. Dad, what have you done? Tell me about it. I want to do the same. Because at the end of the day, you're just increasing that household income, right? You're increasing not just your income, you're increasing the lifestyle and the income of your entire household. Now, that has a very huge impact. And that's why for me, I really feel that just voicing, talking about it, and leaving that gender lens for a minute, because at the end of the day, finance isn't gender. Finance is money. It's paper. So leaving that gender lens and just very, very openly talking about it can really help you and your family.
Beautiful, beautiful. I just love how you said that money doesn't come with a gender lens. So just talk about it. Actually, the more you talk about it, the more information we gather. Also, I really love how you earnestly shared the fact that you did like a SWOT analysis of yourself in order to understand how the money is, where it's going and all. And I think the fact that you shared that, it's the true story. That's what happens. We need to take a call of our life, by sitting down and taking having a complete idea of it. Superb. So first up, all our panelists, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. What we're now going to do is take questions from the audience, and we have gathered a lot of interesting questions. I'm going to share the question, and maybe one of you can answer a single question. I'll move on to the next one so that we can answer as many questions as possible. I think I'll start with my first question, which is coming from Ekta, as to how can I secure my future without a full-time job at hand, and also how can I make the most from selling as people are reluctant to buy in these times of COVID due to limited earnings? So this is a question from Ekta. I don't know if Shinjani or Shalini, if you would want to address, but it is to do with how to secure future without a full-time job and how can she make the most of the selling because people are not really in a mood to buy right now. So either one.
So I know we don't have much time. And so, a couple of things. It depends on what you're selling, right? A market always has a need for some things, and that need keeps changing. So if you're selling masks today, then you have the reverse problem. You are selling COVID testing kits today, you have a different problem. But that's making light of it. But the fact is, you're saying without a job, how do you secure your future? Two answers to that. One is that you are not in a job for two reasons. One is that you are not able to find a job, and the other is that you want to actually be an entrepreneur, right? So I think you need, both are slightly different situations. If you're a job person who wants a job, can't find the job, you will need to understand where is the skill gap and what are the skills that employers now want and how can I reskill myself, and that's the way to go. If you're an entrepreneur, then you need to ask the question, what am I not doing right? Maybe what I'm selling is not something that people want to buy anymore. So what do people want to buy now? If they want to buy avocados, if they want to buy, whatever, organic pizza base or organic soap, is that what I'm selling, or am I selling something which is outdated? So I guess the answers are different, but one thing remains common is that whatever you do, whether you decide to invest into your skill and become the person who gets the job, or whether you decide to invest in a new product that becomes a hot seller in the market, your understanding of money needs to be constant. I mean, something which Siddhika was also saying, right? Because your aspirations, what you do with money changes. But the fact that you need money to buy everything from atta chawal to raw produce for your product remains constant. So an understanding of money will help you in either scenario. And that I think is the focus point for this particular discussion. So there's no easy answer to saying that, how do you get a job or how do you sell the right product? But whatever you do, understanding your finances, understanding what is the financial implication of what you're doing, not just today, but over a period of time, in the context of how other consumers are likely to think, is the most important thing, right? You have to understand what will people value more? If people are struggling at home to with their children, two children having to do classes at home and the household having only one laptop, why are not more people refurbishing old laptops and selling them to people? Like, why is it that only NGOs are doing this and not anybody doing it on a commercial basis? There are enough and more opportunities that are currently available. You need to think about what is it that you will do to make that money.
That's wonderful, Shinjani. Actually, I think it mostly comes from, what is it that we can do to provide that kind of value? And that's where the entire answer also shifts. Then I'll quickly move on to Siddhika. Siddhika, there's a question coming for you from Sushmita. And she wants to know how Sheroes' money will benefit women, mostly homemakers.
Yeah. So Sushmita, what we're building out at Sheroes Money, and we're taking baby steps. Just a couple of days ago, yesterday, we disbursed our first loan to a sole bread earner of the family. She lives with her mother, and she was denied a loan by 3 other companies. Why? Because during COVID, she had taken a loan and then wasn't being able to repay it because her job was taken away, or rather she was fired. But we went deeper down and we said, hey, look, you are now employed through Sheroes. We know what your relationship with Sheroes is. We had a video call with her. We understood what her aspirations are, what she's doing apart from working through Sheroes. And you know what, we were able to give her a loan, and now she has a mentor who will mentor her through her entire journey of loan. What we will do for all homemakers across the country is really harness that dream of or that aspiration that every woman has. Give her a safe space and a community to come, talk, listen, ask about money, ask about, someone here in the group has also written how, like, I know I have to, but how do I start? So find answers to those hows through Sheroes Money. And also at the same time, be able to access and open a bank account through the app, take a loan, at some point also have insurance. So protect yourselves, like the way Shalini and Farida said, put yourself before, right? Health and wellness really matters. So for a homemaker, everything that she wants, but hasn't been able to do because either physical access or just, the pure fear of not wanting to go and deal with finance, we will hopefully try and overcome all of those barriers through the Sheroes Money app.
Wonderful, Siddhika. I think that really answers Sushmita. I hope you got your answers there.
Can I just add on to this, Kavya?
Yes, Farida.
As homemakers, yeah, just a little point. As homemakers, the biggest apprehension that people carry is they would not have, enough money to invest in the beginning of anything, or maybe they will not able to make people believe in themselves. Okay, in such case, the best thing to do is to do some kind of consultancy. Okay, now it can be a financial consultant. Homemakers, I have seen, as in, I have been working with Max Life, and I have seen people like even, Shalini sitting here is a very big example of it. As even a homemaker, you can associate yourself with a company where you can become a consultant. You can speak to people, you can spread the word of say insurance, and you can have an agency with yourself. You can do many things which does not require a capital to go in the beginning. It requires knowledge and it requires some talent. Okay, so I just thought I will add on to this. It's yeah.
Thank you, Farida, because the next question was actually directed on that note, but I've also been informed by Shinjani that she will have to take leave because of some prior commitments. But thank you, Shinjani, for joining us. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Farida, in fact, the next question that I was about to ask you is coming from Rabah Raza, which is to do with how Rabah is always confused how to start the investment process. Like Rabah knows that the investment process should begin, but how to start? The how to, if there's something that you'd like to add on to your previous point.
Okay, so, when you have to begin, I am sorry, but I would come back to my acronyms, I'm sorry about this, but when you have to begin anything, you have to see the image. Okay. Now, image is I is for being innovative. M is for mastery. Okay. A is for being authentic. How authentic that particular thing that you're thinking is. Okay. Do you have the guts to take that risk? And is it ethical enough? Because that is also very important. You cannot just keep doing anything. You start anything. Okay. And think innovation there. Think of being a master in whatever you're going to do. Once I had actually sold a career to a housewife who happened to do very well. And I just, she was very confused. How can I do anything in my life? And I asked her that if you want a particular set of jewelry and you can convince your husband, who's completely non-convincible because he's a lawyer himself, okay? So can you do that? And she said, yes, of course, I am able to do that. I said, if you're able to do that, that is your strength. So take a mastery into one field that you chosen and know about it. You'll be able to do anything. So yeah, that's
I think that it all begins with that, actually, Farida, like you've shared. So that's beautiful indeed. In fact, this question is very, very important. And that's why I'm also going to direct the same question to Shalini as well, because everybody knows that, okay, they need to do the investments. How to start with the investments? So if you could share that, and then I'll come with the next question to you as well. And Shalini, you'll have to unmute yourself again.
Shalini, you're on mute.
Yes, we need you to unmute again. No, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay. Now, this is something which is very dear to my heart, which I do in and out every day. So what you need when you need to start is go for a diagnostic checkup. This is what is required. Go to a professional or any expert, go for a complete diagnostics checkup. Pour out everything what you have in your heart, how you feel about money, what are your fears, what insecurities you carry. So this will help your consultant understand you better. I mean, he or she would design a strategy based around these. Because, whenever you go to a doctor, I'm sure you must have experienced this in your day-to-day life. He doesn't prescribe you a medicine there on right away. He sees your reports, he hears your symptoms, what you're going through, and then accordingly design the dosage of that medication, right? Similarly is your financial planning. This is how it goes. Understand the person opposite you is from my end, and somebody who wants to learn, understand what you want to share with the person up to the limit of confidentiality, and things which you're not comfortable, don't share that. But all this would have an impact on the designing of the strategy which you are looking forward. Now, here I would like to emphasize there are two things which all of us work towards. There is a need and there is a want. So we need to design a strategy which is realistic. I mean, wants, there are never ending wants. So first work towards the needs, secure a base financial bottom for yourself. As you know, when she was talking about financial independence, financial security. So first build the financial security, which leads to financial independence. So it has to start first with small, so that you get into the discipline mode. And of course, whosoever is helping you plan this, your consultant, has to review, come back to you quarters, half yearly, annual modes to check whether how you feel about it. So this is very, very important. The same way you go back to the doctor and tell them that, okay, this is how I feel with the medication. I'm not comfortable. It's giving me a little, jerks. So, and he or she redesigns it. Same way goes with your financial planning also. So I hope I've answered it.
Yeah, just to add on, when you have to begin investment, start thinking from a small point. I'll give an example why I'm saying I have been associated with Axis Bank for 6 years now, and I've seen banking very closely. So people can go into the bank and talk about a recurring deposit. They can talk about a small SIP. You see a housewife is very good at हम kitty करते हैं 1,000 रुपए का, and they go and 10 people will come across, and then it will become 10,000, and that 10,000 will be getting some good of our home. Housewives are very good at it. Start from that small thing. You can call people like there are so many consultants and advisors across. Take a small step, maybe start saving, say 2,000 rupees, invest in the market, study the market. Maybe don't go into this that you kind of blown up your money into it. You don't have that much. So when you have to start in investing, start small, see and think long term. Always remember, start small and think long term. Short term thought process will always lead you or misdirect you when it comes to finance or money.
I think that's a salient point, actually. Start small, but start. Give it a start at least. Shalini, there's also another question because it's important. I wanted to ask you this. This is again coming from Sushmita, which is how can I align my investments and insurance cover? Can we link both?
Yes, definitely. You can link both of them. And again, get in touch with an expert on this, understand how you want to, what you're trying to achieve out of those savings. Always define a goal. Whenever you work towards a goal, your chances of reaching it are higher. And again, as Farida said, small steps, then bigger steps, finally ending to a big result, so which will cater to your financial requirements, be it a milestone, a child's education, or your retirement. And this is something which is, again, I do with my customers. What is the job of a financial coach is that I increase my customers bar. The moment, if the target is 1, the moment he's about to touch 0.75, redesign it to 1.5 or maybe 2, so that he or she slogs. It's a win-win situation for both. My customer performs, he is able to achieve what he desires in life, and so we are there supporting him or her to go and ahead and touch his goal, right? So it's always better that one has aligned, designed a discipline to reach that goal, work on those strategies, monitor them regular basis, go for annual reviews with your consultants or whosoever areas, like as she has asked on life insurance and investments. So there are various options available in investment, but again, I would emphasize here a lot, work towards tax efficiency. Don't end up paying taxes on maturities also. So there, fortunately, life insurance offers you that option.
That's a nice, strong point coming in for all of you attendees. And on that note, while we're almost coming towards the end, it's time for a final question from Alok Bhan to Siddhika. How can women help other women in this awareness drive towards financial inclusion?
One of the main things is, as women, and we can all say this very confidently, we love talking to each other. We form our cohorts, we form our groups, right? We come together as friends, and we talk about everything. We talk about how the house is, what we're doing in our lives, how our relationships are, what the husband is doing, what the mother. So those conversations keep going on and on, right? It's really simple. Just add finance in. Don't be scared. Finance is no more a topic that you need to keep hush hush. It's not, the world is moving towards a social community. Everyone is talking about everything. So I guess the first thing a woman needs to do is really do away with that fear, with that prejudice towards finance, and say, hey, this is one of the other topics which is a part of our life, because at the end of the day, it's the money that is helping you live in a house. It's the money that's helping you eat your food. It's the money that's sending your child to education. Let's start talking about it. I think once you start talking about it and making it a part of your own lives, we will be on the right path.
I think that's point blank the reality. Siddhika, what you've shared is let's start talking about it. I remember about 2.5 weeks ago we had to go for a small celebration with my girlfriends, all the friends together. I do remember till last year, not last year, till last year, it would all be about, hey, how are you doing well in your career, or what are the recipes and all. It was this last meeting we actually spoke about investments, and I was sitting, I was like, my God, girls, you're talking about investments. Let's dive into it. So I think you're right, Siddhika. Let's talk about it. Let's connect. And attendees, please note all our fabulous panelists. They are available on LinkedIn, Sheroes Money, the Sheroes platform as well. So please do connect, ask your questions, because पूछने से ही तो हमें जानकारी मिलेगी. It's when we ask, we learn. So on that note, on that beautiful note, attendees, we have not come to the end because it's not over until it's over. Stay with us. But firstly, I'd like to thank Siddhika, Shalini, Farida, and Shinjani, of course, for joining us for this very fruitful discussion and sharing your experiences and your expertise as well. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And on that beautiful note, attendees, stay with us because I'm going to hand over the proceedings to Meryl as she has something important to share with all of you. So with that, Meryl, over to you then.
Thanks, Kavya, for summing that up so beautifully. So before we wrap up on the heels of World Health Day, I just want to touch upon something very briefly. We're all familiar with this idea that a healthy daily routine is going to keep us fit and build our immunity and hopefully keep disease at bay. But what we sometimes forget is that healthy living also benefits us financially. And innovative companies today are increasingly developing products that encourage healthy behavior among policyholders. So I want to invite all of you to check out the MaxFit program that comes with Max Life Critical Illness Rider. It's a robust wellness app and offers discounts after you've completed certain health-related parameters. So check out their website. It's a very cool and innovative way in which the company rewards you for, just staying fit. Irfat, I think we could sort of in interest of time, we could dispense with the survey. Thank you. On a different note, our chat box is really, really buzzing. And it's amazing to see so many women talking about money. So I want to invite each and every one of you to come join us on the Sheroes app and continue the conversation there. Post your queries, get the answers you seek, and just develop this, practice of talking to other women about money. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our awesome moderator, Kavya, and all our panelists for their time, for bringing their perspectives, and more than that, their passion to this conversation. Also to you, wonderful audience who is committed to your financial security journey and investing like 1.5 hours today. So that's a great first step. And on behalf of Sheroes, I want to thank our partner, Max Life Insurance, for triggering these important conversations, being committed to the financial security of women consumers. So I want to wish all our audience fitness, protection, and happiness for the coming year. Thank you and have a great day, ladies. That's it from all of us signing off.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks, Shalini. Hi, bye.
Bye, bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Meryl.
Meryl. Thank you.
Thanks,
Kavya, you
everybody.
were awesome.
Thank you, Shalini. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was lovely indeed interacting with both of you as well. Thank you so much.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Thanks, yeah.
Thank you. That was a great discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Kanika. Thanks,
Thanks,
Adit.
Kavya.
Thank you.